Hello everyone, TheMrTrails here. So our resident smart boy, Sajemsum, has asked me to talk to you guys about the Shrowd unique effect, and talk to you about why it's not really that good anymore. Is it still playable? Absolutely, but even if you know what you're doing, it's not really going to be the most optimal option. So let's talk about why that is. And in the process, we're going to talk about the history of the Shrowd unique effect and where it went wrong. You guys know what to do. Drop a like for me, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Quick update for you, I have officially bought the CPU for my new PC as part of a PC upgrade and upgrading the future content of the channel. If you want to help me afford the rest of this system, then head over to TheMrTrails.store. And for the next 2 weeks, you can save 10% store-wide by using code PC10 at checkout. So where did it all go wrong for the Shrowd unique effect? In the pre-reforging era, the Shrowd unique effect was a pretty viable option on pretty much any behemoth when it came to Dauntless Trials. Then it was also possible to make use of it in your general hunting, as long as you were able to avoid taking damage after getting down to 20% HP. Basically, you needed to get down to the 20% HP threshold very quickly and then keep that for the rest of the hunt. And because the damage bonus from the weapon unique effect was unparalleled, it was a sleeper choice to get a top time in Dauntless Trials. It wouldn't work out every single week over having the elemental advantage, but it would be possible on certain weeks. However, once the Reforge update came out, this kind of changed. The bonus you would get from having elemental advantage would go up in the Reforge update, going up to 96 power. And because we no longer had the power bonuses from the escalation lanterns outside of Trials, this even more drastically added to the multiplier gained by using the elemental advantage, which for most cases where we had an elemental behemoth, this meant that the Shrowd unique effect was really no longer viable. But it would of course still be meta when we had Rezakirian Trials as well as when we had neutral behemoths, and it would often be combined with the Tragic Echo for these trials because times could get kind of long and the Tragic Echo could help to mitigate that a little bit. However, in this ever-changing game, things do happen that make things less relevant than they used to be, such as the Molten Edict just becoming dummy overpowered for a while. But one massive change that happened was the Omni-Cells update. But this wasn't an issue at first, because this may have even perhaps increased the use of the Shrowd unique effect in general hunting overall, because with the Discipline Omni-Cell, crits became that much better. And you would be already pretty handicapped when it came to HP with Discipline, having your healing halved as well as taking double damage when you enter the Discipline state, so it just kinda made sense to go all in on Glass Cannon. But the Omni-Cell update would reduce the amount you would see this in Dauntless Trials, because you no longer started the hunt at half HP. This meant getting into the range of the Shrowd unique effect was made a lot more difficult. You would often need 2 hits to get it done, or have a massive damage elemental attack hit you from the behemoth, while also having your armor at an elemental disadvantage, meaning it was basically only viable on Rezakiri now, or in a very fringe case scenario where it would still outperform Predator with the elemental advantage, but it at least still would be used on the Rezakiri trial at least for a little while. But there would be a final nail in the coffin for the Shrowd unique effect, and that would be Revenant. When Revenant first came out, it was fairly even with the Discipline Omni-Cell, at least in casual play. However, trials were still often dominated by Discipline. After a couple rounds of Discipline nerfs, this changed, such that Revenant would become top dog. Discipline does still get its moments at the top here and there, and coincidentally it is on top this week. However, in the majority of cases, Revenant is going to be your top option, both for casual play and for trials. But what does that have to do with the Shrowd unique effect? The issue is you need to stay at 20% HP to make the Shrowd unique effect work optimally. And with Revenant, though you would get down to 20% HP, you wouldn't stay there. You can kind of attempt to play around with not allowing yourself to go above 20% HP, but if you are doing that, you would be losing out on a large amount of damage that you would be getting from Revenant. And with you missing out on all of this damage, this actually means the Riftstalker unique effect takes over as the meta option. The Riftstalker unique effect isn't even that far behind the Shrowd unique effect. It caps out at about 38%, and one of the important things here is with that 38%, you will actually be doing more damage with your Revenant. In an example, with a 3 Berserker build, you would have 950 HP, so you would get 5 tendrils, then 4 tendrils. Once you hit the Shrowd unique effect range, it actually only activates on the second tendril of that activation, so this means you would get 3 tendrils that would have the Shrowd unique effect bonus, compared to 9 tendrils that would have the Riftstalker bonus, which would have a maximum of 38%, and even when you aren't at maximum, let's say you're at 30%, you would only need 6 of your 9 Riftstalker tendrils to be at that 30% to outperform the Shrowd unique effect on the Revenant damage. And then you would also have to compare the amount of time you would be spending in the Shrowd unique effect range compared to not being in the Shrowd unique effect range. So let's say you start with Revenant, you have to then wait 10 seconds to use your second Revenant to get within your Shrowd unique effect range, and then upon using your second Revenant, you then have 15 seconds that you are in the Shrowd unique effect for. The amount of time you're in the Shrowd range for can be extended based on how many orbs you have collected from your Revenant tendrils. To get the maximum time bonus here though, you do have to avoid collecting any of the orbs at first, which, collecting orbs, also gives you a damage bonus. So any amount of benefit from leaving the orbs alone at first is kind of nullified, so the practical bonus here is going to be 5 or 6 seconds. So this means we can have up to 20 seconds in the Shroud unique effect range before our Revenant pops, making us go back to full HP. And we only get to full HP after about 8 seconds. So in our best case scenario here, we are in the Shroud unique effect range for 21 seconds of the 39 total seconds of this Revenant cycle. This only averages out to about a 27% damage bonus. And with applying constant damage, the Riftstalker unique effect is almost always going to be at 30 to 38% damage bonus, and that's going to be for the entire fight. So if you were to use the Shroud unique effect with Revenant, you're basically just leaving damage on the table by not choosing Riftstalker instead. So because Revenant is the meta Omnicell option now, the Riftstalker unique effect is now the meta Umbral option. When Discipline is the meta option for your scenario, then the Shroud unique effect can make a comeback here. But because Revenant is the general meta and the Trials meta right now, this means that the Shroud unique effect has become suboptimal in most scenarios. This doesn't mean it's downright bad or unplayable, but again, you're just leaving damage on the table if you are using Revenant and you are not using Riftstalker. So there you have it, guys, the fall of the Shroud unique effect and why it's generally not used anymore. Hopefully this explanation was sufficient for our smart boys to gem some. But hey, we'll have to wait and see. There's speculation that our next behemoth is going to be Umbral, so perhaps in a few months this video will be completely irrelevant and the new behemoth's unique effect will just be way better than both of these. I kind of doubt that though. But that's going to be it from me, guys. Thank you for watching. Drop a like for me, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and I have been Trevor. I go by the Mr. Trails, and I will catch you guys next time.